The special master hits against Trump and his legal defense of the classified document scale just keep coming. Now Raymond Dearie is ordering the Trump team to back up any claims of the FBI planting evidence, because it turns out you can't just say that on Truth Social. Some point you have to be specific. Raymond Dearie said in a filing just yesterday that Trump's team needs to submit a sworn declaration saying if they believe the Justice Department included any items on their inventory of materials taken from Mar-a-Lago that were not actually seized during the search. The declaration must include a quote list of any specific items set forth in the detailed property inventory that plaintiff asserts were not seized from the premises. So if you're going to imply that it happened, you have to be specific. First of all, specifically say in court that they did it. That's first level. Second level is tell us what on that list you didn't have. Because if they planted something, they planted specific things, what are they? And so this has now come up as an issue because Trump himself, some of his attorneys, and several outside Republican allies have been publicly claiming that this happened. Remember early on, they were talking about before we knew what was found, immediately every Republican was like, they're probably gonna plant. And then once we found out, most of that was dialed back, but some still claim that things have been planted. So this is a gauntlet being thrown down by the special master, very similar to the gauntlet earlier this week over the declassification. You can't just keep vaguely implying you did something. This is a court of law. You have to actually claim it. And that is an important distinction because there are consequences if you lie at a court. There's no consequences for lying on Truth Social except maybe more re-truths, I don't know. But the question is gonna be, will any of Trump's lawyers want to go on the record, put potentially their ability to practice law on the line to make claims that they know aren't true? Brett, what do you think?
So yeah, this is the court, and truth matters. That's the problem. That's the problem for Trump, is that the truth at some point has to matter. Now, how do we make that happen? What we try to do is funnel what he's doing that is sketchy toward the place where truth has a chance to matter. And that place where it has a chance to matter is in various kinds of courts, right? So you have a criminal court where you could go to jail. You got a civil court where you could have to pay a lot of people a lot of money. Now, in a criminal court, usually the consequence you pay is that you do get incarcerated. And that's how we say, no, this really happened. And you really have to suffer the consequences. The problem with that is there end up being appeals. And all Trump has tried to do, and to a large extent, the Democrats have tried to do at certain points, but everyone in politics at least tries to do it, is pack courts and make it so that eventually there is an outlet for your side to win. Not by being right, not by doing the thing that is truthful, and not by having an actual moral, ethical, and legal high ground, but by rather through wanton corruption, by taking advantage of the mechanisms we had to put in place to at least give the truth and fairness a good shot at happening, and then just bastardize the whole process. So now Trump has his Supreme Court through a lot of terrible angling. So if this criminal court case gets appealed and appealed and appealed, theoretically, he could win. The only outlet that we have for making him actually face consequences is stuff that I'm encouraged to see bearing out. Like various people that Trump himself has appointed have gone and said, no, this is a ridiculous legal claim and you have to put your money where your mouth is, including his special master of keys or whatever, that he through an appointee convinced someone to allow to be put in place.
I think you're thinking of the gatekeeper and the keymaster who have not yet combined in an unholy union to allow for Gozer to cross over to our that might come up later on. We won't know until all the documents have been reviewed, and that might actually come pretty soon. So everyone stay tuned. A couple other interesting developments, including, I probably should have previewed this earlier in the show. This is really exciting, maybe. Dearie opened the door yesterday to holding a hearing where, quote, witnesses with knowledge of the relevant facts can be called to testify. That feels like we might get something almost close to an actual court case. Like, now we're not gonna get live video or anything like that, but already from the hearings that have been held, we've gotten a lot of details out. And wouldn't you love to hear more from maybe some of the actual agents who did the searching about the nature of the materials, where they found them? What, were there any stacked neatly on top of the toilet? I don't know, but we might find out soon, and that's pretty exciting. Additionally, and this maybe plays into Raymond Dearie saying that the timeline for finishing the review of the documents could be literally just a couple of weeks from now rather than the end of November. He's also asking for help from a retired federal judge, James Orenstein. He wants to help him, retired federal magistrate judge who holds a top secret clearance and who has experience with complex cases, reviewing documents for attorney-client privilege and serving as an appointed aide on the FISA court, similar to, in this case, Dearie's experience there. Orenstein, by the way, and this is a great detail, would be paid $500 per hour, which of course Trump would be paying. That is, man, those documents do sound really boring. That work sounds boring, but $5 an hour, Brett? I don't know. I think I might go work for the FISA court. What do you think?
You don't make that, John? The little work you put in? That's what I make, dude. Because I don't work. I just sit here and I do work. It sucks.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.